We are live for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Wintraw. How are you doing today, Seth?
I'm good.
All right. You know the deal, people. We get all the best news in the EV world of the week, and we discuss it. And then what we do after that is that we make it interactive, and we take you guys questions. So if you guys have questions about anything that we're going to discuss today, you have the show notes live on the show right now. You get all the articles we're going to discuss. Or it can be any other topic in the EV world that you want or take on. You can put them in the comment section below. And if you do enjoy the show, you can always give us a like, subscribe, and all that stuff. You can share the show to your friends that love EVs. All those things are free to do, and it helps the show a ton, and we appreciate when you do it. All right, let's start with the talk of the town, of the EV town today, is this weird image that popped up in the Warner Brothers studio area in Los Angeles today, and it's all over the social media. Is this vehicle here? I'm gonna get an image that's a little bit better that I'm gonna show you on the screen. That is believed to be the Robotaxi prototype, a Robotaxi prototype with obviously heavy camouflage.
Paper mache camouflage.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can see the crest in the in like the bumper of like whatever the material they use for this. So yeah, you can see it here. Let me zoom in, guys. Yeah. Listen, let me zoom in very well with the
Pan left.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not like the X doesn't want me to pan. Is it reversed? All right, I'm gonna have to pan out of that. No, the X. All right, it's like super delayed on the thing for some reason. All right, that's gonna work for now. So this thing here, it was spotted with other Tesla vehicle around it. It looks super goofy, obviously, because of the camouflage. Like it almost looked like kind of a small pickup truck, but obviously everything is like padded onto the vehicle to camouflage the shape of it. But it's clearly a Tesla, and obviously it's Warner Brothers studio. There's a Tesla vehicle that followed it all the way through, according to the person that took the pictures, at the employee that took the picture. Another thing, like it's not clear if it's the camera angle, but even I don't think it's a camera angle. It almost looked like the front wheels are way smaller than the back wheels. Not sure what's that about. A lot of people mentioned the bump also at the top here that's camouflage, thinking it's a LiDAR bump. I don't know, even if it's a LiDAR bump, I seriously doubt that it's on the actual vehicle, but it might be like a ground truthing thing to verify the data. So no need to go crazy here. Obviously, the world got a little bit nuts about what the vehicle looked like, but again, it doesn't really matter what it looked like because it's heavy camouflage. I think the bigger story here is more about the fact that Tesla is, running probably a loop at the area. It's not clear what Tesla's going to demo. Is it going to be like some kind of rideshare services that's going to be demoed around the not the Universal Studio, Warner Bros. Studios, or is it going to be a specific loop that some attendees are going to be able to go through to show the capability of the Robotaxi? It's not clear, but it is being tested right now, which a lot of people are linking to the 2016 event when Tesla unveiled the first video of the self-driving Tesla. And a lot of people, believe that Tesla lost credibility with that video because it was also pre-mapped. The area was mapped, and then the Tesla did several test runs before they could get it right on this specific route that they were showing the video on. So a lot of people are making, correlation between these two, thinking that this is going to be just a remake of the 2016 incident, which, of course, since then, you could argue that there was varying level of improvement in Tesla self-driving system. Yep. But what I'm a little bit more interested in with this thing, let me shift back onto this here. Yes, is I want to kind of prepare people before the 1010 event, Robotaxi unveiling, to make sure that there's a clear like separation in your mind between like what Tesla is going to unveil on the Robotaxi, which is a dedicated self-driving platform, and the FSD program. Those are very separate. And the FSD, obviously the Robotaxi is built on the full self-driving program. I'm not denying that, but this is a separate platform that's going to use different hardware, and that is potentially going to deploy services faster than FSD. And what we're seeing about that is like we're starting to see a shift a little bit in Tesla's full self-driving program. And one of the biggest one is the language that Tesla is now using when selling the full self-driving package, which is not really called a full self-driving package. So if you remember, when I bought it, when you bought it, so when a lot of people bought it before a few weeks ago, it would look something like this. Not exactly like that, because like if you bought it a few years ago, maybe it was different features that were listed, but it was called full self-driving capability. And then Tesla would mention all the features coming, would mention continuous software update to improve the system, so that currently enable features requiring active driver supervision, but that in the future it would be full self-driving. Elon even mentioned level 5. Elon mentioned, enabling Robotaxi with this particular program and things like that. Now, when you buy full self-driving, it's not full self-driving capability anymore. It's full self-driving supervised, in parentheses, supervised. And there's no features listed anymore, and there's no mention of future capabilities. It's purely what you're buying is full self-driving supervised. And what it suggests is that potentially it will never not be supervised. The only thing in the language that is a little bit encouraging for people buying this is the mention of currently in those fine prints below, because it says currently enabled features require active driver supervision and do not make the vehicle autonomous. So maybe currently mean that in the future it won't be, but there's no mention of like continuous software update like there was before. So that is also gone. So with that gone, with the full self-driving capability being replaced by full self-driving supervised when you buy it, you could make the argument that Tesla is not promising the same thing anymore, which is, a little bit worrying, especially if you're paying $8,000 for this.
Yeah, it's also weird that they're calling it full self-driving supervised instead of just supervised self-driving. Like it's kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah, I think it's that like they wanted to keep that in parentheses, and then you do the parentheses after or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact syntax here that they're going for. Which brings me now to, all right, so that's a problem for people that are buying new cars now and buying FSD with it. Now, what happens for people that already have FSD, and those people, I think their expectations are quite clear. Elon promised it level 5, which was insane. I think you should have stick it to level 4 at the minimum, at the maximum, and this capacity to eventually have robotaxi, unsupervised robotaxi level self-driving. But we talked a lot about V12.5 being available on hardware 3 vehicles. Elon, early last month said it would be in 10 days. Then like 20 plus days later, we still didn't have it. Then it launched on, I forget the exact software update, but we reported late last month that Tesla started to push V12.5 to hardware 3 vehicles. So we thought, all right, this is that for now. Tesla, made some progress there. Fortunately, we have to backtrack that statement a little bit, because now, more than 2 weeks later, most hardware 3 vehicle with FSD still don't have V12.5. Don't know about you, Seth, but I still don't have it. I looked at all the software trackers. Most hardware 3 cars still don't have V12.5. Some of them do, but they are, as per Tesla's own admission, running a smaller model than on hardware 4 vehicle. And on the AI roadmap, Tesla is now saying that sometime this month, the V12, the hardware 3 will rematch hardware 4 with the V12.5.2 update, which is already in hardware 4 vehicle, and hardware 4 vehicle are now moving to V12.5.3. So it's a little bit worrying on that front, but it's clear that Tesla is still having a lot of issues running the current model on hardware 3. And again, I want to remind everyone that the current model is still so far away from what Tesla promised in terms of capabilities and what we're even seeing right now, again, with very limited data, because Tesla doesn't want to release the data, but the crowdsourced data with V12.5.2 is worse than what we saw on V12.3.6, which is extremely worrying at this point. All right, moving on to the Cybertruck wrapping business. Oops. So this was an interesting move from Tesla to do in-house wrapping for it was launched originally actually for the Model 3, Model Y, but right before the Cybertruck was launching, and we anticipated that it was going to be because of the Cybertruck that Tesla was building this business, because the Cybertruck only come in its natural stainless steel finish. It's not painted, so you need to wrap it if you want to change the color. So it makes sense for Tesla to just offer it as an option. And sure enough, right when the Cybertruck launched, they launched that business. They started with 2 colors, but then expanded to 11 colors. And now, sorry, I think I didn't put my focus on. No, I didn't. Sorry about that. Getting a bit annoying. Okay, we are focused. 11 colors were in. When I say it's not factory made, it's made at their service center. So when Tesla launched, there was only a few in California. Then it expanded to Texas, and we thought that Tesla would keep just onboarding more service center into the program, teaching their employees how to do the wraps and so on. But now Tesla is instead reversing that. So first of all, the colors have gone away. They went from 11 colors to now just 3. So Tesla is now just offering satin rose gold, satin stealth black, and satin ceramic white. And they also removed their service center in Texas that was doing the wraps. Now it's just 3 service center in California. So instead of expanding the places where you can get their wraps made by Tesla, they are shrinking it. So there's clear sign that the Tesla is kind of backing away from this a little bit. But the Model 3, Model Y, well, same thing. It still can only be applied at these 3 service center in California, but they still have more colors. So at least there's that.
This is weird, right? Like, I thought the wrapping was like one of the things that made the Cybertruck look a lot better. I mean, obviously it's polarizing all the way, but it's a $100,000 vehicle. Like, wrapping doesn't seem like a big ask on top of that to make it more unique. So what's going on?
I mean, but it is like $6,500 if you get it done by Tesla. To be honest, I've never checked the third parties wrapping prices for a Cybertruck, but if you compare the prices on the Model 3, Model Y, Tesla was about $1,000 more expensive than most places in California. So
you're thinking maybe there's, this just isn't something Tesla's going to be great at. Other people can do it better.
They're not as competitive, which kind of makes no sense, because you would think that they would get the volume, right, being the person that sells the cars to you. So it's a great opportunity to upsell people to that. So I'm a bit surprised. Maybe just Tesla, doesn't like the margins, and also if it's getting done at their service center, and a lot of their service center, I don't know about these particular ones, but with the layoffs earlier this year, a lot of the service centers have capacity issues right now, and adding luxury item like a wrap to their workload might not be the greatest idea to do. So there's that to consider maybe. Chris Wood said, why would Tesla care about the margin for a WAP? They're selling a $100,000 vehicle. I don't think they're making money on the Cybertruck at $100,000 necessarily right now. Until it's fully ramped up, it's not it's not money producing. So All right, this was interesting news that came out this morning. Tesla is looking to sell its first virtual power plant. So we're talking about the very first virtual power plant that Tesla put together in South Australia. Tesla has a lot of energy business in Australia and in South Australia. Specifically, South Australia is where the Tesla made the first big batteries with power pack, and that kind of launched this business for Tesla to make utility scale energy storage system, which are now provided through the Mega Pack division rather than Power Pack. But back then it started with Power Pack. And I still remember it very well back then when when the big battery project in South Australia launched, Elon came for the launch, and it was asked by local media there like what he thought about the energy crisis in Australia, and he wasn't really aware of it that much. And he started to explain the situation to him, and Australia for a developed country has some of the highest electricity rates out there. They have a very unstable, or at least they did at that time in 2018, grid. They have extremely high level penetration of renewable energy, especially residential solar, and that creates some great fluctuation in the power grid in terms of capacity, because obviously solar comes when the sun shines. So great need for energy storage. And when explained the situation, it was like, all right, Tesla will focus on the in their energy storage business in South Australia specifically. And a few months later, they announced this giant project of making a virtual power plant with distributed power walls and solar at homes, especially at the homes of low-income families, and with up to 50,000 homes they wanted to put together. And the program was somewhat successful. We reported on it several times. It was all installed in public housing, and so people that electricity is like a big part of their budget. If your budget is limited, then electricity sometimes it's a difference maker, and it can be a difference between that and eating. So it's serious business. And if you can get subsidized power walls and subsidized solar panels that's gonna reduce your electricity bill or eliminate it, then it's life changing for some people. The project, though, they didn't really come to fruition exactly like Tesla wanted. Like it didn't come close to 50,000 homes. As far as we know right now, they have 7,000 homes that within the virtual power plant. And now Tesla is looking to sell it. According to a new report from Australia's AFR, Tesla is circulating a sales pitch among prospective buyers in Australia for the virtual power plant, which has a capacity of 35 megawatts, according to Tesla, with 70% of the capacity coupled with solar power also. So not just the power walls. So Tesla is looking to offload the entire system to sell it to a company, most likely an electric utility or something like that. But it still wants to be involved in the project and wants to keep supplying power walls to expand the virtual power plant. And it still wants the future owner to use the auto bidder software, which manages the capacity and sell the electricity when it's the most valuable for the client. There's no mention of pricing on it, but it would be interesting to know. I hope that if there's a sale and the sale go through, it's public. So it's like that's gonna sort of give us an idea of like how much a 35 megawatt virtual power plant is worth. Especially, obviously, it's market specific. Like it's in South Australia, it wouldn't be the same price as in California, example, where Tesla has other virtual power plants. But it's interesting nonetheless. So it would be interesting if it creates sort of a market for buying and selling virtual power plants, just like there's a market for buying and selling coal plants and solar farms and things like that. That would be interesting
for sure.
And a lot of people are like reading into why is Tesla selling this in the first place, because Tesla has other virtual power plants too. And people, of course, the shorts are saying Tesla needs the money, and then the longs are saying, nah, it's nothing to do with that. I'm a little bit more on the sides of the long on this one, because I think it probably, we previously reported that Tesla is looking to launch its Tesla electricity retailing business in Australia, like they have in Texas right now, like they're launching the UK. So I think it's more about that. I think Tesla is kind of locked into certain rates and plans with this one, especially if they're working with the government and public housing services for that. So I think Tesla wants to move into more, it's just regular retail business in Australia. That would be my guess, at least. All right, moving on from Tesla news, we have a bunch of other interesting news I want to discuss with you guys. But of course, we want your insight too. So if you have any questions or comments, you can put in the comment section right now. I want to get to it in about 15, 20 minutes. All right, the first one is Renault came out with the unveiling of the R17 restomod, an all-electric version of their classic R17 model from the 70s. Yeah, I think we have a side-by-side comparison here. Oh, yeah. So this is the original model and the reimagined 2024 all-electric version, which looks pretty stunning. And I think that's like one of the best integration of completely aero flat wheels on like the way it matches. It's like normally, almost always, there's some exceptions, almost always aero wheels look worse than just regular mags with that are less aerodynamic because they are mostly empty. The full ones here, like this actually works better than this, like by a lot, I think. Obviously, these are giant tires versus wheels. But anyway, here's a little bit more pictures of it's retro, but you can see the more modern look in it too, not just in the materials, but in the actual design, the interior awesome too. Yeah. What it reminds me of, when we went to, so this is actually going to be shown at the Paris Motor Show in the next few weeks. When we went to the Paris Motor Show, well, I'm not sure you were there, actually. No, I don't remember you were there. I think I was with Micah. I don't remember. But it's not Renault. What's the other?
Citroën?
Yeah, they unveiled also like a retro mode of their 70s car that was like almost like a muscle car looking. And they made it all electric and it looked pretty cool. Yeah, I just wish they would do that.
No.
There's no word about bringing this to production, but we are trying to put a little bit of pressure there because I think that would be pretty cool. You have to give it to Tesla though for that stuff. Like Tesla, they did the Cybertruck, love it or hate it. They actually had the cojones to make it happen.
Yeah.
I wish like other companies like Renault would, be, because universally you look at the reaction on social media on our comments and like love it. My heart is with it. The Rivian R1T right next to like obviously the Rivian R3X is also maybe a same family kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, those seats are badass. Yeah, I wish they would bring this to production. You can do it, They did it with they just brought back one of their older vehicle to production too, right? Well, I don't remember which one, but
I forget. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
The Macan EV from Porsche has gotten its official EPA rating, and it's getting 308 miles of range for the longest range version. If you want to go with the turbo version, it's going to cut down to 288, but still not bad. So they were aiming for around 300. So it is a little bit bigger than a little longer than expected.
Yeah, and Porsche tells us that that's still like 15% less. They like to under promise, over deliver. So these are very conservative estimates, and they probably will do better than that.
Yeah, because the EPA is known to have a little bit of wiggle room in terms of the multipliers so that you get the official range. And so you can be a little bit more conservative with it or, a little bit more optimistic. And some automakers like Tesla, for example, have been known to go with the most optimistic range possible. And they've been punished for that a few times. But most other automakers, they like to go the other way around and be a little bit more conservative. And Porsche is in that side of things. But the Macan is at least getting over 300 miles. The WLTP was 381 miles. Of course, the WLTP doesn't account for climate control, which most people do tend to use.
Yeah.
Maybe not in Europe. They're kind of weird in Europe with the ECs in their buildings too. So
they just like to be hot.
Yeah, they just don't mind it. All right, Lucid. Lucid had this an event this week where they made a bunch of announcements. They specifically tried to, there was a lot of talk in Lucid lately about being technologically more advanced than competitors, and they tried to showcase that at an event this week they called the Technology and Manufacturing Day. We had a bunch of posts on that if you want to check out Electrek to get all the little bit of details on it. But one of the things that grabbed most people's attention was this is the only image of it, right? Yeah, is a tease of their upcoming midsize vehicles after the Gravity, which is coming next year. So this is the midsize SUV. So people are calling it already the Model Y competitor and whatnot. But early concept, obviously, but looks kind of. It's not. Tesla has a very similar design language from vehicle to vehicle, except obviously Cybertruck. But this looks a little more different, let's say, than Lucid's other vehicles, except for the back. I think the back I see some similarity with the Gravity, for example. But obviously, we're not seeing much of the front with the obscured image. It's a tease. It's the teaser. It's the name of the. This is why we call it a teaser. We don't see that much of it. But there was a lot of other interesting news at the event. For example, the Gravity has been confirmed to come as a 2025 model year with NACS standard. So that's obviously a big deal. We have the new Ioniq 5 we think is going to be the first vehicle with NACS in Q4. But a lot of other automakers are starting to announce new vehicle coming with NACS as standard. So that's good.
So are those vehicles, do we know if they're going to come with CCS adapters so that they can charge at, legacy Electrify America places? Or
I don't think there was a mention of that for Lucid or Hyundai, the two that have already confirmed it. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. I know that a lot of charging station operators, CCS charging station operators, are already adding NACS to their existing station too. So maybe it won't be needed as much.
Yeah, and then there's all the old like J1772 chargers that they'll need an adapter for, but Tesla's have those.
That I think is
$30 or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's more needed. Like I use my J17 to NACS adapter all the time. Right. I never use my CCS adapter basically. Oh yeah, we have another Lucid news this time for existing Lucid vehicles, and that's a software update related to the UI and ADAS system. So some would say the autopilot of Lucid. But you have a few major changes. So you have the new 3D lane visualization. So in the instrument cluster, you see this now. So you can see all the vehicles around you on up to 3 lanes, and you have the off-road on the road. You have the HOV lanes, exit, lane merge, splits, and all of that are going to be all visualized on the instrument cluster, which is a big plus. You have highway assist now that utilize high definition maps. Drivers can see HOV lane exists. We're going to that. Driver initiated lane change. So you have lane change that are done automatically as long as you are initiating it. So that they're not initiated automatically. You have to press your turning signal, but the car will do it by itself. And you have also adaptive cruise control that they refer to as extended stop and go, which will allow you to restart automatically if you have stopped for a long period of time, like in stop and go traffic. So a very needed update for them. A new voice assistant that's hands-free now that works by just saying, "Hey, Lucid," rather than having to press a button. That's pretty much it for the Lucid software update. The Rivian R1T has become the highest rated safety vehicle in the pickup truck category for the IIHS. So it's the first pickup truck not just all electric, but first pickup truck period to get the Top Safety Plus rating from the crash testing agency. And you can see the result here. So I don't know how many all electric pickup truck they have tested though, because this all electric pickup truck are kind of new, but they have tested plenty of pickup trucks, and this one has gotten the best rating yet for the 2024 version. I mean, the all electric vehicles are offering opportunities to do a lot of different designs. Obviously, the first thing that comes people to mind is the front, like you have a front trunk. But in terms of safety, in terms of efficiency, the all-electric platform is giving a lot of opportunities to do a lot of improvements. And even the front trunk, you can argue, is also a safety feature because it allows you to create a bigger crumple zone in the front that you might not have on other vehicle, especially pickups. Because pickups have, they generally, one of their main feature is their capacity to tow, their capacity to have big load. And for that, you need a big engine. And if you have a big engine in the front and you have a front crash, front collision, what happens to that engine? Well, it will push into your passenger, your cabin. And that is, obviously not great for safety. So all electric will help with that. So I'm not surprised. Like I think every time electric vehicles get into a new vehicle category, they will rapidly become the safest vehicle in that category. We've seen that with Tesla already. The Model Y, Model S and X, Model 3 all getting some of the best safety score, including that IIHS Top Safety Plus rating. All right, the last piece of news I want to discuss before we jump into the comment section is solid-state batteries. Mercedes says that they will start testing solid-state batteries inside actual electric vehicle in the next few months after having unveiled their new fractional, is the startup they invested in, the new Solstice all-solid-state EV battery. So solid-state, for those who are not aware, is using a dry electrolyte. So it's instead of using a liquid electrolyte, sometimes it's called a dry battery instead. But the more commonly used word is solid state because there's no liquid in it. The electrolyte is replaced with a solid version of it, hence the name. And this new capacity is expected to bring some improvement. The most touted one is the energy density. Higher energy density means one or two things. It means either lighter battery pack with the same energy capacity, or same weight but more capacity in the pack, so longer range, one or the other. And in this specific case here, they're talking about an energy density of 450 watt-hours per kilogram, which is significant. You talk about the 33% smaller than current tech. I mean, smaller is kind of weird word because it would be lighter more than anything else, but they're talking about enabling over 600 miles of range in a vehicle with 40% weight reduction. You see, that doesn't make sense to me. To me, it's one of the other.
Exactly.
Either you can reduce the weight greatly and get some like a decent boost in range with that, or you can make them just as heavy and just try to cram more batteries in there with similar weight and get more range. But I don't think we're going to see 600-mile range vehicles with 40% reduction in battery weight. I don't think that's feasible. And I know, like, when every time we talk about that, people are like, "Yeah, solid state. It's always the upcoming technology, but it never comes." I think it's about to come. Just like Mercedes is talking about right now, these batteries are getting into vehicle in the next few months for testing. Now, we're not talking about volume production yet. We're not talking about prices, making it in time of prices that could make sense to sell it in a consumer vehicle just yet. But we've seen, so Mercedes working with fractional, now getting into prototypes. Solid Power in the US, Colorado-based companies, is working with BMW and already confirmed that they sent enough batteries to make prototypes inside vehicles. And I think they even said that it isn't prototyped vehicles. I don't know if they said with BMW, but BMW is one of the companies they work with. So I wouldn't be surprised if BMW has right now vehicles on the road that are powered by solid-state batteries in the prototyping phase. And Mercedes is just a few months behind, it sounds like. Then we have Toyota. Toyota has had some issues with their solid-state plans for a while. It felt like they thought they would just like leapfrog everyone with BEVs with solid states, and they said that in 2021 and then 2022 they would come with high volume production of solid state batteries. That plan never came to fruition. This week they announced that they have received approval to start production of their solid state batteries in Japan, but now they only aim to have volume production in 2030, so 5-6 years from now, which I think is probably a more realistic time frame now, because, like I said, we have fractional Mercedes, solid power BMW, and then you have QuantumScape and Volkswagen, and all of them are now appear to be in the stage of having actual full battery pack, solid state battery pack inside the vehicles. So it's in the right direction. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing the first actual vehicles with consumer vehicles sold with solid state battery by the end of the decade. I think that's not a wild assumption. Yeah, probably going to be with high-end vehicle first because of the price, and then we'll come down. So I don't think it's going to be like a quick transition to every car is going to have solid state batteries anytime soon. I think the traditional lithium ion cells with incremental changes to the battery chemistry are going to still dominate for probably into the next decade. I wouldn't be surprised it would take another decade after that for solid states to make it into the more mainstream vehicles. But yeah, more energy density, so enabling longer range vehicle and lighter weight vehicle. Both things are awesome. Charge speed, we heard different thing from different producer. I don't know if Fractional has charging mentioned somewhere, but some of them do talk about improvement in charging speed. Don't see much from Fractional on that front. And safety is a big one too. So safety and longevity too, because without the liquid electrolyte, there is more stable, or at least there was some issues to fix. So a lot of these companies, they were working on fixing those issues, but when those are fixed, they see a potential for more stable over thousands of cycles. So less battery degradation, longer longevity, and also fewer chances of catching on fire, which is already very low chances, but you can always get lower when you talk about battery fires. All right, that's it for the news this week. We can jump into the comment section.
All right, not a ton of comments. We have 1,000 people online right now, so if you have a comment, throw it in there. But let's hit it. Let's see. We got a Twitter comment first.
This is Bastien, the CEO of Terran, electric ATV manufacturer.
And it's already Friday. Just listen to the podcast yesterday.
Yeah, the week went by fast. He's right.
Yeah. Friday the 13th. All right. Yep. Bad day for luck. All right. It looks like legal protection more than intention. This was at 8 minutes in. So
it's the supervised full self-driving.
Right.
That might be true. That might be for regulatory reason. Maybe regulators are coming down on Tesla and saying that. But at the same time, it's what are you buying from Tesla? If Tesla doesn't,
right,
like,
it's got to be something.
Yeah. So if Tesla doesn't deliver on those on the promises of full self-driving, like, can you go back to Tesla and say, hey, you told me you were going to deliver that, and like, what did we tell you we were going to deliver? And then you look at it and like, all right, you said supervised self-driving, so it's not a bad point. And Elon has calmed down a lot on his promises when it comes to existing vehicles. It's not he doesn't every week now says that 1 million Robotaxi are going to come online. He's done saying that.
Yeah.
So there's room for concern on that front, in my opinion.
All right. Moving on. Dan Oberstay, my 2019 Model 3 with Hardware 3 and FSD early access program invitee still only has FSD 12.4.3.
Well, Dan, don't complain because we're still on 12.3.6 here on our 3. Just like 12.5, 12.4.3 was in very, very limited release to hardware 3 people. So, and looks like not everyone that was on 12.4 got upgraded to 12.5, and it looks like you are in that group.
All right, we talked about this before. Yeah. Carl in San Diego is saying R5 is the Renault model that they're reinventing as an EV. That sounds right. Spikes 43. I suspect that the term FSD supervised name is part of a settlement from the fatal crash of the Apple engineer in California. We would have known about that, wouldn't we? If it was
no, the settlement was was not released, so we only knew that it was a settlement, but we don't know what
timing.
Yeah,
matches.
I would be surprised, but not impossible.
Right. I'm worried that Lucid doesn't have the right combination of profitability and scale needed to survive.
I mean, right now, no, they clearly don't.
Right.
It's pretty obvious, but we always, I never saw an opportunity for them to get to a level where profitability and scale would make sense with just a sedan. It's just, you cannot survive selling just a luxury sedan in the US. It doesn't work like that. Rivian is doing pickup trucks and SUVs and still having issues, 2 of the biggest segment out there. So I think Lucid needs to get out of that, and that's what they're doing. I mean, they have enough money to at least survive through the launch of the Gravity. Probably gonna be a need to raise throughout the ramp up of the Gravity, I would assume. I would need to go back to look at their financials, but I think that's probably fair. And and then after that, they would need to show profitability at scale with the Gravity before moving on to the higher volume vehicles, or maybe not profitability, but at least positive gross margin on the Gravity and most likely the Air too. I've always been on the fence with Lucid because I've never actually driven the car, but they contacted me last week actually to get one in Montreal. So they are sending one to Montreal right now for a press fleet of 1 to have me test it out. So I'm going to put it through its pace and see where Lucid is at in 2024 and give you guys a full report. I don't know when, because they told me last week. Then they asked me like which one I was interested in testing. So then I should get one in the next few weeks, I would assume.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Carl's back saying, but didn't Rivian also recently get challenged as being unsafe as it crashed through a crash barrier? So the next thing says, sorry, Rivian. What he's referring to is a test of crash barriers, and Rivian's trucks are so heavy that they just go right through them. And that's bad for the occupant probably, but not as bad as it is for people on the other side of a Rivian crash, because that's a lot of momentum going their way. But I think that's included in the testing and part of all the numbers that IIHS puts together. So
crash barrier is the little light barrier you see like in turns. Okay, I just Google it just to make sure it was what I was thinking. Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's not unusual for cars, even non-electric ones, to be able to get through that. Like probably bigger SUVs also get through that.
Especially when you hit it perpendicular. If you hit it like sideways, like they're designed for, then you've got a better chance of staying in.
So are they saying that the Rivian, even if you hit it like that, it would?
No, the test, it actually goes like perpendicular.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
So,
yeah.
All right, moving on. Zeph side, only self-driving I will ever trust is Tesla. These companies won't be here in 10 years.
Which companies?
Yeah.
Which companies you're talking about?
We were at 37 at that point, so that was probably...
Lucid, that we were talking about. Lucid's, first of all, Lucid is not selling self-driving vehicles. They're selling, classic ADAS system like the classic autopilot from Tesla. And Teslas are not self-driving either. It's advanced ADAS system. They requires attention all the time. We'll see. Before making a claim like that, at least wait until the 1010 event, or like we'll probably get a better idea. I think at the 1010 event, we're gonna see a shift from Tesla, and they're gonna separate the full self-driving program with the Robotaxi program, which gonna have its dedicated hardware platform with the Robotaxi. We're gonna see how different it is. I think it's gonna be vividly inspired from the FSD program, so vision based, obviously, but probably like the new hardware 5 computer might be unveiled there, might be in the Cybertaxi, maybe a different array of cameras, maybe fewer blind spot, because there are some blind spot now on the existing camera array. Things like that need to be fixed, and from there, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla start focusing a lot more on that platform, delivering a level 4 self-driving system in that can be used in geofence area. And then the question becomes, what happens with the existing vehicles with FSD? In my mind, there's very little doubt that Tesla is going to be able to, I'm pretty sure Tesla is not going to be able to deliver level 4 or 5 on hardware 3. I also have serious doubt about hardware 4, but it would be interesting to see at this point, like what Tesla does in terms of, do they announce buybacks program, retrofit programs? I'm talking on the voluntary side. Obviously, on the non-voluntary side of things, you have the lawsuits and the class action that are already have been filed against Tesla. So you have these competing things that are happening at the same time. I don't think Tesla is going to do anything voluntary until they have something concrete on the Robotaxi side to balance things out. But still, it's gonna be a fascinating thing to see unfold.
All right, Nick Cedar says, "What would be your first request of CEO JB Straubel?" I was kind of daydreaming on that idea. We had talked about Tesla Energy previously, so I was like, you know what? Like Tesla Energy is a big money making possibility. Why not allow all Tesla vehicles to put vehicles, not just power walls, but like vehicles to help out Tesla Energy? And there's a lot more Tesla vehicles and a lot more battery power there.
So you mean enabling the bidirectional charging on all vehicles?
That seems like something JB would be about.
Yeah, that seemed like a big value creation, pretty easy, pretty quick. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, I think probably reviving the $25,000 Tesla program, the non-robotaxi programs that are on the on-box system.
Yep.
If there is value in the on-box system, like we don't know how much there is there, but if it is as good as they claim to be, like why not make more than one vehicle on it? I understand that Tesla like backs off of a few things because of the economic situation right now, but it makes sense to get into cheaper vehicles in the future. So Tesla should start working on that. I know they're already working now on the Model Y base version of cheaper vehicle, but I think we still need, by the end of the decade, if you want to come even close to the goal of 20 million vehicles per year, you need a much cheaper vehicle too.
Yeah. All right. Carl says yesterday was testers said it was unprecedented to break the barriers. Okay. Obviously, we're just talking about momentum times speed will break barriers. So like, a Hummer EV, a Chevy Silverado EV, all those things are going to go right through there. They're much bigger battery packs. So, and probably there's, a semi as well, and, large F-250s. And it's just weight times speed. That's the equation. All right. Rolando says, what's the situation with FSD in Canada with hardware 3 and version 12.5?
Well, I don't have it. I have FSD and hardware 3 in Canada, and I don't have V12.5. I don't know. I think I don't know if Bastien is still in the room because he commented first when it started, but I think he might have V12.5 in Canada. I'm not sure.
All right. Important question. How long before I can send my Model Y out daily to make me a bag of money? Well, you can go to Turo.
Yeah, Turo is your best luck, but you're gonna have to bring the car out to. Oh no, they come to you with Turo. So yeah, it's basically it. You're right. They come to you and you give them the car and they give you some money.
If you want your seats to smell like farts, go for it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't like Carl says. I think I don't know if you were lied to. I think Tesla thought they could make it happen, and it just didn't work.
It's not
out
a lie if you believe it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a lie if you believe it, and I think some people within Tesla believed it. It becomes a lie the moment that Tesla knows it cannot deliver it and doesn't tell anyone. That's when it becomes a lie. And I am sure that within Tesla right now there are some people that knows Tesla cannot deliver on hardware 3 on its promises. I don't know how far up this knowledge is getting. Like, does Elon believe that, or like that I don't know. But like I said, I don't think anything is going to be publicly acknowledged in terms of like either retrofit program. Yeah, Bastien has a V12.5 on hardware 3 in Canada, so he's not the only one for sure, but there's not that many people that have it.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, so I think one thing that a lot of people mention for hardware 3 for Tesla to deliver on the promises is like, what if you make the hardware 5 or II5, now they're calling it, computer retrofittable for hardware 3, which the hardware 4 computer was not. Not a bad point. I don't know how realistic that is in terms of feasibility. But then you have also the cameras. The cameras have also improved since hardware 3 vehicles. So that can also be the limiting factor at one point. There's more than compute power, onboard compute power as a possible limiting factor. So I don't know, but like I said, I don't think Tesla is going to do anything official in terms of retrofit or buyback programs until they have something concrete on the Robotaxi front, so that it's not just all lost. And I'm not saying that the whole FSD program would be all lost, because obviously the Robotaxi is built on the FSD program, but in terms of credibility as a company that is apparently, according to Elon, worth nothing without FSD, if you admit to everyone, hey, we were wrong all those years about this FSD program working on hardware 3 and or hardware 4, it's a bad look. But if at the same time you have, but we learned from all those mistakes and now we came up with this dedicated platform that works perfectly, at least you have that. I'm not saying that, like myself included, a lot of people would still be extremely skeptical about this program, but at least you have something to show for. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with FSD versus Robotaxi. But I think that's it for us for the question this week. I appreciate every single one of you that participated in the show this week. If you did enjoy the show, please give us a like, a subscribe, and all that stuff. Free to do, takes a second, and it helps the show a ton. And we're going to see you same time, same place next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Nice.